Coming up, we discuss new details about the tower coming to Coronado Springs Resort. We give our impressions of the new Lion King trailer. We share what we are thankful for at Walt Disney World. And we go for a stroll around the Pop Century Resort. All that and more on this episode of WDW Opinion. Cue the music.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
This is the podcast where two friends, Connor,
you are a child's plaything,
and Hank,
you are a sad, strange little man. Can you have my pity?
Share their opinions, tips, and stories about anything and everything at Walt Disney World.
Trust me, what can go wrong?
Get ready, because this is WDW Opinion.
We're in the tower. We are ready for takeoff.
Hello and welcome to episode number 20 of WDW Opinion, the podcast where friends talk Disney. We share our Disney World opinions, and then you share yours. Let us know what your Disney World opinions are by following us on social media. We are at WDW Opinion, and visit WDWopinion.com to check out our blog posts on all things Disney and to see what we're up to in between episodes. There you can also get a free Disney trip planning checklist when you sign up for our weekly email newsletter. I am your host, Connor Brown, and I'm joined by my co-host and Disney partner in crime, Mr. Hank Molsky. Hank, there are rumors that Shanghai Disneyland might have to get rid of their Winnie the Pooh attractions and character experiences. Have you heard about this?
Yes.
This is crazy.
Where are you going with this?
So it turns out people in China have been comparing the Chinese president to Winnie the Pooh because he's packed a few extra pounds on in recent years.
Does he run around pantless all the time?
He does, all the time, with his hands completely just covered in honey as well. But the big thing is on social media, critics of him or just people trying to joke around have been posting, side by sides of him next to Winnie the Pooh saying, our president looks like Winnie the Pooh. China, I don't know if you've noticed this or ever heard, they're not too friendly to criticism. So they've actually censored all content on social media and online on the internet to remove anything that's posted like that. Because of that, they think they might have to take out there's 2 Winnie the Pooh attractions in Shanghai Disneyland. Like, people love him over there. Meet and greets, merchandise, they might have to retheme it. How crazy is that?
Well, that is insane. And it is also funny. Is the park attendance going way up on those rides too?
I don't know.
Everyone's got to get to Pooh.
I don't know if it's just a wildly outlandish thing.
That is super funny. Is that one of the trackless rides, like the Honey Hunt that they've got there? Do they have one of those, or is it not as good as one of?
I know the one in Tokyo is trackless, and
that one's gorgeous. Yeah,
I would assume that it's got to be the same, just because it's only 2 years old since Shanghai opened in 2016. But I'm not sure. I know one is kind of like it seems like a teacup kind of ride. Mm-hmm. So one's like that, and then one is an interior kind of dark ride, it looks like. But I mean, people here get upset when we put President Trump in the Hall of Presidents, even though
that's still up, right?
But
Winnie the Pooh, out! Get it out of there!
Get out! Solidarity. So right. Chinese government, if you're listening to this podcast, which I'm sure you are, I just want to come out front and say it. We are a pro Winnie the Pooh podcast. Suck it. United we stand for Pooh. All right, let's change gears. It's time for news to opinion. This is our weekly segment where we each pick a recent Disney news story to discuss and share our thoughts and opinions on. My Disney news story of the week is that new details unveiled on Gran Destino Tower at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort, which is set to open July 2019. So the Disney Parks blog is excited to announce that you can begin booking reservations for the Gran Destino Tower starting on November 27th. The tower, which will be completed in July 2019, will serve as the new main entrance point for all guests visiting the resort and will add a total of 545 new guest rooms, including 50 suites to the resort, as well as feature a gorgeous 2-story lobby, a themed table service restaurant for the top of Grand Destino Tower is also planned, which will serve up delicious food and incredible views of the Walt Disney World Resort. Then, the resort's more than 1,800 existing rooms have also been fully updated with new fixtures, furnishings, and lightings, something that Hank and I have experienced just a few weeks ago. And a second new restaurant is planned to open on an island in the middle of the resort's 14-acre lake, Lago Dorado, with new walkways stretching across the water, making it convenient no matter where guests stay at the resort. Something else that Hank and I noticed, a fresh color palette will tie the entire resort experience together, blending the new and the newly reimagined.
I like how they went with color palette. We're going to paint everything.
We're going to paint everything. Give it a fresh coat.
New color.
Beige and...
A new palette.
Like I was saying, Hank and I spent one night at Coronado Springs a couple weeks ago. So much construction going on. Crazy to think that it'll all be ready to go by July 2019.
Man, gosh, I feel so quick hearing that news now. I didn't even tie all that together. That's pretty fast.
Especially the tower itself. You know, I could see the restaurant on the Lago Dorado, which, by the way, incredible name, don't you think?
Yes.
Lago Dorado.
There's not much lake left now.
No. It seems like it's taking up all of it. I could see that opening in July of 2019, but have this massive tower to, you know, where the new lobby is going to be, the main entrance point is going to be, the restaurant on top, everything to come online that quick. It's pretty impressive, but I mean, it's one thing to announce a date. It's another to say you can start booking November 27th. This means that's a hard deadline, you know, heads in beds.
Yeah. And then you make a good point with how quickly this moves. It just starts to make you think around, we talk so much about expansion at Disney right now, everything in preparation of 2021. We used to play this game, or, you know, when you'd look at like the Disney parks and you'd go, oh, good, this ride's done, they're going to move them over here. This ride's done, they're going to move them over here. They're finished building this resort, they're going to move them over here. Now it's just like this. We're going to add everything and nothing. Not that I'm not saying nothing's getting done, but they're adding more construction. And now, like you're saying, setting deadlines. You're like, how are they going to get this done? They can't just, like, you know, pull the squad that just finished the Tron coaster, or, you know, or that finished the, what's the Reflections Riverside Lake? Now they got to start building that. And you're building a Star Wars hotel. You got work on the Caribbean.
Riviera still is getting built, the resort there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much going on. And, I think they have to get this open just because of what's coming in 2019.
Yeah.
You know, like we were saying on last week's episode, you have the Skyliner, you have new attractions, including the, Star Wars, obviously, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, coming to Hollywood Studios fall of 2019, as well as the Riviera Resort is opening then. This is, 545 new rooms that they can have people staying on property. They need that to be up and running in addition to its 1,800 that they already have at this resort, because it's a big resort. I mean, that's some serious numbers. They're pushing, close to 2,500 rooms, all said and done. So plenty of people to occupy those rooms.
That's cool that it's that close. Yeah, very close. It'll be exciting to see all those fresh new rooms and photographs when that cut the banner on that.
And very excited to try the new dining locations.
Ooh, yes, of course.
We're also excited to see what they do with the old lobby. That's a gigantic space. They gotta figure something out for there too.
Sure.
Who knows? We shall see. Hank, what's your news story of the week?
All right, we're going to migrate a little bit away from parks this week, Connor, and we're going into the world of Disney cinema. So while families gathered around to watch the Redskins and Cowboys on Thanksgiving Eve, Disney surprised everyone and dropped the Lion King trailer for its release on July 19th of 2019. Unexpected. None of the teaser trailer thing that Disney does that a little bit with Marvel. Some other studios like to play with that. Didn't do any of that. They just dropped one of their most anticipated movies trailers. Cold as the turkey that I'm going to eat tonight for dinner.
Oh, damn.
On Thanksgiving Day, while everyone was eating their hot turkey. And the internet blew up. It is now the most viewed Disney trailer in the first 24 hours of its release.
It's like something
220 million. Yeah, 220 million. But they aggregate that between sites. It's not. That's not just the YouTube ticker now. That's like Facebook, Twitter. A lot of people, I read some stuff that said it pulled in like 32 million from a fan page that Beyonce.
Oh boy.
From a Beyonce fan page that shared it. So
I watched it 10 million times.
I've watched it 10 million times. It's funny. It's uncanny. I think they re-recorded Circle of Life for that trailer, but it's uncanny how similar it sounds to the original.
Yeah.
Like I love the Broadway version, and I was like prepared to hear a different version, but man, it's kind of goosebumps to hear it like the exact same way as the original.
Well, I'll say what's going to be interesting is the songs where the characters are singing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense that Donald Glover is Simba because, he can sing. Childish Gambino. Beyonce is Nala, of course. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to hear Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah, they do have a song.
Because they got, before it was Nathan Lane, singing.
John Oliver will sing. So there are 4 confirmed, loosely confirmed songs that are going to make it that were in the original theatrical version of the Disney's Lion King.
Right.
And that is Circle of Life,
mm-hmm.
Just Can't Wait to Be King,
mm-hmm.
Hakuna Matata, and Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Which if
Yes.
they didn't do that with Beyonce, people would be burning the theater to the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there would be no more. Disney would cease to exist as a company if they didn't do that.
I guess.
And then they're also going to write some new music with Elton John and Beyonce.
Interesting.
Some reports say it's just for the credits, and some say it might be in the film. So we'll see.
Well, what they tend to do with these films is when they're remaking an animated movie into this, they tend to add in new scenes just because the animated movies for Disney are almost always consistently 90 minutes, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
They try to make these, closer to 2 hours, like a normal like live action film. So they definitely have to add in some new things. One, just so that it's not a complete redo. But I do like seeing the side-by-side comparisons of the first trailer to this trailer.
Yes.
It's like identical.
Yeah. There's a lot of heavy criticism out there that Disney's chasing money, but I really couldn't care less. I hate when people say that. I'm very excited about this.
Oh, I don't like the argument of people like, oh, they're just chasing money. No, they're making a smart decision. It's the most viewed trailer they've ever had. Like, they're going to make crazy amount of money off of this. But to say, oh, it's just a money grab, somebody's got to pony up the money to do it.
Yeah.
People are willing to go see that in the theaters, to pay money to do all that stuff. Now, my big beef with it, quote unquote when I've talked about this before, we've talked about all the live action remakes coming. How is it a live action remake?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot. Yes.
It's all CGI.
It's a reboot. It's like a reanimation of the film. Yeah.
Because, before when they've done it with Alice in Wonderland, Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, those animated films that have the live action remakes, there's human beings in them. Right?
I have the same, I don't want to say visceral, but I have that same reaction in my gut to this, where it's not a big deal, but it does eat away at me as the people that call every Apple crisis something gate.
Yes.
Where it's like
everything gate. Yeah.
Everything gate. Everything live action. Well, hang on. It's animated.
Well, I got a new one for you. It's Simba Gate.
Simba Gate.
I need a real lion in there.
You've just combined
real,
everything.
A real lion.
All right, I'm going to get up. We're ending the show.
Oh, God. We're done. So there you go. 2 things coming in July of 2019. A new tower at Coronado Springs and a new reimagined live action, not Lion King. For our middle segment today, we're doing what we're thankful for at Walt Disney World. Since we just got done celebrating Thanksgiving in the U.S. this past week, we thought what better time than now to say what we're most thankful for at Walt Disney World. Let's give thanks to the Vacation Kingdom, shall we? Hank, do you want to say what you're thankful for at Walt Disney World?
Connor, we talked about this when we were in Disney, and I feel like there's no better time to thank them than today, but gotta go out for the cast members. And it's fun to specifically call out. I know last show we went out and said, Aaron at the Coronado Springs, Aaron, hope you're listening out there, was awesome. But we had just a slew of help. I'm missing my list now of all the other workers that we had throughout the entire trip. Was it Pete on Jungle Cruise?
Yeah. Oof, Pete, he was such a good skipper.
He was quick.
Yeah.
I just like riffing on like cast members. You got to try to get their names, thank them, give them a chance, when you're filling out those guest surveys, which I did at the end. Make sure you write their name in, because someone will see that and they get the gold star or what have you, a pat on the back from Boss Man.
No, that's actually a big thing. Working there, when you get on guest surveys or someone comes up to a manager and says, I just want to tell you about this great experience I've had with a cast member, you would get basically a card that says, hey, thanks for doing this. Great job. And then it's called a cast compliment. And those wouldn't go on your record, but there are ways to get them on your record, basically. Awesome. And it's just a way for the cast members to show their importance.
Yeah, and Connor, you and I, we had difficulties here and there, and we, like anyone, I like to think that if I'm going to complain, you better believe I got to write a whole lot of compliments.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in my head, I kind of have a system where it's like, if I'm going to complain, I got to dish out 3 compliments for every complaint, or even more than that.
Yeah.
Because you can't just be the person that goes into a park and complain. Spread the love. So we definitely wanted to thank Pete on the Jungle Cruise, because it's not just the people that are cleaning up or being managers. It's the people that are working these shifts and part of the entertainment. Pete on the Jungle Cruise, for example, where you get stuck next to Trader Sam at the end. You're like, oh great, here we go. Got to listen to this skipper try to come up with something, and then turn his back and awkwardly put his foot up on the front of the bow, and just because he's out of jokes. And here comes Pete on the Jingle Cruise, mind you. So he's got a seasonal flair to it where he gets stuck. And instead of dropping one line, and then dismissing us and saying, I'm going to tap out, he emptied the revolver. It was just like...
Yeah.
Every joke under the sun. So we got the full Trader Sam joke book, or at least in Pete's. And he didn't run out. I think he did like 5 or 6 before we had to move.
Yeah, he was good, especially considering that whole... Jingle Cruise had only been open for a week, something like that.
He was on fire. And then our other good tour guide of the trip had to thank Deandra, who was on the Kilimanjaro safaris. She was great. I had some fine experiences. I feel like you miss a little bit of their personality with the way that they retell things now, but she was great. She was enthusiastic, smart, fun, engaging with the bus. Just a good spin on everything.
A great voice level too. She came that was very good.
Genuinely excited to see stuff.
Yep.
Not acting how do I explain this? But she knew what was normal and knew what was abnormal, and made you feel good about her explanation of that. He's always out here, don't worry about that.
Exactly.
Not that anyone would do that, but she's
no.
ooh, hippo in the bank, this is a big deal, guys, this does not happen.
That was cool.
It's that type of thing. So there's some thanks for some cast members there.
So Hank is thankful for cast members, as am I. I'm thankful for the Wedway People Mover, of course. I am thankful for benches that I can sit on in the parks and watch crazy people go by. I am thankful for I just forgot what it was. I am thankful for the hot glazed almonds that you can find throughout the parks.
Ooh.
But I think most importantly, I am thankful that people continue to help feed my Disney addiction. Like you, Hank, I'm thankful for you for doing this podcast. I'm thankful for our families and our friends who are willing to go to Disney World with us, are willing to listen to us just completely continue to talk about it day in and day out. I'm thankful for all of you listeners for listening to us, two grown adult men. I was using air quotes in case anyone was wondering. Thankful for you all listening to us spew about Disney. It really, really, really means a lot. I'm definitely thankful for the entire WDW opinion community.
Yes, we do. We really do appreciate that. We always joke about ending our show and disappointing listeners, but we would not continue to record if there wasn't at least enough of you out there where we don't throw in the towel.
Exactly.
We're not going anywhere.
You're the reason we're still doing this. Episode 20, big deal. That's what we're thankful for. I love wandering through Disney World. It's the best way to discover new things when it comes to the parks. But when it comes to the resorts, wandering and going for a stroll can be one of the most peaceful things you can do on property. Hank and I recently stayed at the Pop Century Resort during a trip. And while we will have a full review coming shortly, for this episode, we wanted to take you on a stroll of the property. We recorded it while we were down there, and we hope it helps transport you to the House of the Mouse. On our stroll, we talk about the resort, the size and scale of it, review a little of its history, and discuss what's coming down the pike for it. So, without further ado, Connor from the past, take it away. Alrighty. Hank and I are walking around Pop Century Resort now. No idea if this device is actually working or not, but we hope to God it is.
We're gonna try.
We've banked an entire vacation off of this one segment.
And a lot of disappointed listeners out there if this doesn't pull off.
Well, yeah, let's hope so, seriously. We're just walking around Pop Century right now, which Hank actually just did a couple laps of it. And what were your first thoughts when you were doing the laps overall? Besides getting completely lost.
Oh, yeah. So, anyone that hasn't stayed at definitely Pop Century and Art of Animation, I think they're an exaggerated version of any value, where it's even more confusing than like the All-Stars.
Oh, yeah.
Where I feel like most people have, been to an All-Star for some type of event, but if you come to the Pop Century or the Art of Animation for the first time, it is so disorienting. There are so many squiggles. You don't know if you're ever heading towards the lake or towards the buses or towards the mess hall. A lot of good signage, but I mean, it feels like you're supposed to get lost a little bit. Do you get that feeling when you're here? Like,
yeah,
it's like a Walmart parking lot. They don't want you to shop.
Oh yeah. Well, we're staying in the 80s building, so each building's themed to a different decade in the what century is that? 20th century.
There you go.
It's like when we noticed that on each corner of our building was a Rubik's Cube. So we're like, oh, just head for the Rubik's Cube. Well, the second day we realized there was one on every single corner.
Oh, yeah.
So it's completely disorienting.
Yeah. Well, and then first impressions, I don't want to the winding part actually adds like kind of a nice splendor to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you really do get lost inside in a good way. When you're going around this property, you feel a lot more immersed than just being, like block motels.
Yes.
And that's what they're trying to avoid. And they do a great job by doing that. I ran around the lakefront. And Connor, it is really like a good looking lake.
Yeah.
I was so surprised.
Hourglass Lake.
Yeah, Hourglass Lake. Totally underrated.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You think you need to be on Bay Lake or you need to be over at, Port Orleans or Riverside to have that great waterfront experience, or even Coronado. But I had never knew what a good view you get from this.
So, Pop Century, out of all the values, I believe is the biggest. And And when we look across Hourglass Lake from where we are, the 70s buildings right behind us, there's big Duncan Yo-Yo, Bell Bottom Boo Boos. We see Art of Animation. And an interesting tidbit about this was for years, there were a couple unfinished buildings across the way here that were going to be an extension of Pop Century. They were never completed, but I guess it was probably close to a decade ago, Art of Animation was finally announced, and we're looking at the Radiator Springs, the Cars section right now. So they decided, and rightfully so, to make that its own unique resort, because if they just made that an extension of Pop Century, I mean, Pop Century is so big right now. Yeah. You can only imagine. It
would have been a little sprawling, a little bit complicated, a lot to digest. So we're standing out, we're looking over the lake, and Connor, this is something, while we're walking around, we'll probably reveal a little bit of it as we move through this talking tour, is you get a beautiful view from Art of Animation over to Pop.
Yes.
I think Pop looks more attractive from the distance than Art of Animation, the new one. It's it feels very sterile from over here, because they go with these, these incomplete sketches, because you were taking you through the Art of Animation over there. So there are these like unfinished sketches along the walls. On these newer buildings, they're a lot more stoic faced, whereas a lot more vibrant. When you look over at the Pop Century, if people that are familiar with it, you've got railings, there's these decorations all over them. Like we said, there's these big metal structures at the end of them. It just kind of, here we go. It pops from across the lake.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Very good.
But it's a beautiful view from Art of Animation. And Art of Animation, as we go over there, stunning on the inside of those building areas.
And one of the things I always remembered, I'd watch the, Disney vacation planning DVDs as a kid. And the thing they always talked about, on the value resorts, I always wanted to stay there because it looks so cool. We have a computer pool here at Pop Century, and it was always, these things are big on anything but the price. And it's true. Yeah. It's cool to see the big Baloo, the big Mickey phone, the computer pool, the hippy dippy pool. These are the things that those added elements that just kind of make this place fun. And that's what I kind of describe all value resorts. They're just fun.
It is
fun
places. Very fun. I was feeling, like we've said, we've been very good about, we've loved the Pop so far, but I definitely got a little jealous going around the Art of Animation and checking out all of the play structures over there. Yeah. Great family resort. I mean, we're not going to go play in the jungle gyms, Connor and I.
Well, not online. Yeah. Not live.
Not live. We'll do that after we cut the segment. But, yeah, it's a great family area over there. You can just tell it's fun for families. This is great for people our age, or people trying to make a decent trip out of, a holiday weekend.
And we're standing even closer to the lake now, and like Hank was saying, I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous right here. I mean, there's no transportation, obviously, but you're in Florida. If you're close to a body of water, it's pretty cool. It's pretty special.
Yeah. And this gondola system going across is going to be sweet.
Yeah. Let's go head over there for a second. There's plenty of construction going on around us, whether it's just the power washing or to our back right, we have the new gondola system going into place. There are workers there soldering. And what's cool about this, Hank, is I think the station that they're building, which is on the bridge between Art of Animation and Pop Century, it fits the motif of both resorts very well. It almost looks like waves, which is very good because it's adjacent to the Finding Nemo section of the Art of Animation resort. But what do you think this is going to do for these two resorts?
I think we've said a couple times on this trip now where this is totally going to change the value of these areas. I can't think of, Connor, if we talked about it on the air or off the air before, but there's this era of Disney hotels coming where they're going to blur this line between some of these values and moderates, and these immediately, you can just feel these being on the brink of something bigger than just a value. It's always been close, but this is the tipping point where once these go in and you get this monorail or gondola system over the water in the middle of these two resorts, stunning views right to two of the parks. Come on, right?
Direct connections to a couple of the other resorts, to Epcot, to Hollywood Studios. Not necessarily direct, you have to get off at certain points, but any new transportation system is going to make these two resorts even more convenient for people, and it's going to add to the value resorts here.
Connor, do you think that these leapfrog in popularity and cost over moderates like Caribbean? Well, not Caribbean, because they'll get the gondola too, won't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Caribbean will get the gondola.
And does Coronado get the gondola?
No, they will not.
Do you think these will leapfrog in popularity over the Coronado with something like this?
You know, I mean...
For vacationers.
For vacationers, I think it's difficult. I mean, I think Pop Century is incredibly popular. Like, people don't realize how much people actually like this resort. I think Art of Animation, people like staying there. It's expensive, so if it gets a price adjustment, Art of Animation is pretty much going to be a moderate resort, especially with those family suite kind of things.
I can't believe it's not a moderate.
Yeah.
With the prices now, right? I mean, it's pretty much, it's priced like a moderate. Could you see those prices looking more like a Wilderness Lodge price after those are done? Almost. I mean, it's close already, isn't it? Like $250 rack rate right now.
I mean, for Art of Animation, there's very few places on property that have multiple room hotels, so they're very, very unique. When it comes to Pop, I think Pop is in. We have these like 3 levels almost of the value resorts. We have the All Stars, we have Pop, and now we have Value Plus with Art of Animation.
There you go.
You know, so
Disney would like the plus.
Yeah, and Pop is kind of riding that line right now.
Yeah.
When it gets the gondolas, I think a lot more people are going to be coming this way. It's going to give a great option, and I mean, think about, you know, people just wanting to come for food and wine. In the past, it was just had to stay at, you know, Boardwalk, Yacht and Beach, maybe Swan and Dolphin, which aren't necessarily owned by Disney, but this is a great place. You hop on the gondola system, the Skyliner, head over to Food and Wine. That's a great option for people.
Yeah, and Connor, while we're still talking about the gondolas, I wanted to circle back to another thing you kind of led off with that we didn't dive a little deeper into. Is we've spent the past couple of days around the property, and you know, the gondola system is really taking shape. I mean, literally, it's really feeling close. You can feel like, you know, the sense of urgency around all the projects. They're laying cable. We had a bus delayed the other night because of the cable laying across the road. But you talked about the design of these things. And when you're around the property, they don't look at all alike in a good way. These stations, they all have their feel. You know, at Hollywood Studios, totally look like Hollywood Studios. This here, you said, got its own unique feel. And even at Epcot, too.
But you can add that into the bus stops, you know, throughout the theme parks as well. The Magic Kingdom theme park bus stop looks perfect for Magic Kingdom. Yeah. Animal Kingdom, like that. Epcot's just a bus station. But, you know, maybe they'll get an upgrade someday.
You see the new bus stations at Hollywood Studios as well going in.
They're going to look pretty sweet, pretty snazzy.
That whole arrival center out there looks very cohesive already. That whole new, we just got the new entrance, the new drive-through entrance for Ubers and all
taxis,
everything, parkers,
really.
everything. So that's going to look like that. That's going to look like the bus station there. You know, tying those points of transportation together, you know, really does help with that feel.
Nice. All right, let's walk a little further. Let's try and go towards check-in area, see if we can see some stuff over there. So we decided to stop off first before we went over to some of the other buildings and check in, just to talk a little bit more about the Skyliner. We came to the other side of it, and man, there's some serious work going on here. A couple initial impressions. The last 3 or 4, what would you call those, Hanks? Like pylon things where the cable will be connected are actually in the water. That's going to be a cool experience, don't you think? Coming in from the water to the loading station, to the unloading station. That's just going to add a unique element, kind of like like taking the monorail through a building in the Contemporary.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And then right between these two resorts too. I mean, we're standing at the lakefront in the hourglass, and if you think about the pinch point of that hourglass, that's where this station is that we're looking at, right in the middle on the bridge that connects either side of the land on either end of the hourglass. And the fat end of the hourglass, this lake out here, is where all the gondolas will flow right through. And if you just think about that and you look on your left and your right and you see both these resorts, you're coming back home after a long day, it's cool. It's a fun experience.
And we have the 70s building still right behind, or the 60s building right behind us.
Yep.
Still. And that's going to be cool too. To, like you were saying, Hank, when you come back, just kind of sit outside, watch these things come in.
So, Connor, this is one of the other things I think you and I both, when we walked up, we went wow to, is the dome for this gondola station is glass. Mm-hmm. So we're looking inside. Look at all the mechanics on the inside of there. There's actually a lot of working mechanical space in this hooded structure for the gondolas. They're making it very accessible to maintenance, obviously. I mean, they got to have these things running a lot.
You know what it reminds me of is, you ever have a Game Boy Color? And then there was that unique version where it was Game Boy see-through, so you could see the circuit boards and everything.
Yep.
You can basically see how the sausage is made,
Do you think they'll tint those windows, or do you think it's going to kind of be like that?
I don't know. Well, if you see right there, it looks like that one right in the middle is popped open, almost like an apartment window.
Yeah.
Like a
There's two there, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like cranked open.
I don't know why it's kind of late to tint it. They would have installed those tinted. So yeah, you're exactly right. It's like one of those Game Boy Colors where you can see inside. There's like construction workers walking around in there this morning.
Unless, it's
not just a hood.
They could theoretically always do an overlay like they do to the buses or the monorails, where they just put a skin on. And, it's, hey, this way to Epcot, this way to whatever have you, or this new thing is here. Check this out. New movie coming. Definitely very cool. And we were talking about, they have this wave kind of like metal structure, and that's gonna be, it looks like, the cover for the queue area. I think this whole thing is gonna be completely unique. A totally new experience, a totally new process. Huge added benefit for Pop, for sure.
Connor and I were talking about how Connor introed at the very beginning of this session about how half this resort was built. Mm-hmm. And then the other half, they started to build it, didn't complete it. I talked a little bit about, I thought the Pop Century side pops a little bit more because there's a little bit more dimension to the buildings. And then if you look, when you're looking back and forth at the lakes, this is the perfect view here. We're right by the bridge on the Pop Century side. We got Pop Century buildings to our back. You can see some of these Art of Animation buildings across from us. And I talked about that stoic build with a lot of flat concrete fronts. And then, Connor, if we look to our right over there, you see Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
That was the building that was built that sat vacant for 10 years. And it's got that three-dimensional look, like the Pop Century buildings. And if you just look at it side by side with the Lion King one over there, where I'm talking about that flat-faced, just kind of bland-looking area, and then you look to your right and you see the Little Mermaid part really pops because it's got all the railings and it's back and forth and all these colorful elements to it. It's different than the rest of that Art of Animation over there. It's just kind of cool to know that piece of history on this part of the property where, those buildings over there, they look different because they sat empty for 10 years.
Because they are different. Because they have that three-dimensionality like Hank was talking about. That's a cool tidbit. Yeah. It's just one of those things where, like I say all the time, Disney World is a world. There's so much history to it. There's always a reasoning for things. So when that looks different than another building, now we know why. It's even shorter than the other buildings. You can kind of tell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like a good maybe 5-10 feet.
Oh, there's maybe another floor.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Could be 5 floors over there and 4
over there, yeah. All right, Hank, let's keep walking. All right, so we walked a little further down. We're at the 50s section now. Just kind of want to talk about the rooms themselves. So we've been here for 3 nights, and we've talked about this before, but they recently received, room renovations, and I think they fit perfectly with the theme. Oh, there go the ducks. There go the mallards. They fit perfectly with the theme of, Pop Century, mid-century, modern sort of thing. They are definitely smaller because they've added some elements, and we'll talk to that on our trip review, our trip recap report. But overall, I think it makes these rooms feel less like a value and more, almost moderate, peaking on deluxe at times.
Definitely the bathroom experience, I'd say.
Yeah.
The fact that you get you get the sliding door to the bathroom and the additional bathroom space, new showers, it makes a big difference when you have those nice sliding shower doors. we've talked about this earlier on the podcast, was that we love the soap dispensers.
Yep.
Definitely a feature. Hey, did you notice that it's definitely a feature and not a bug in the soap dispensers, is that it's easier to push down the conditioner and the shampoo one, but it's intentionally
Oh my gosh.
just a couple millimeters shorter on the body wash because everyone wants to go.
So that was happening to you. I thought it was just a thing that was happening to
But
me.
what happened to me last time I was here, and I didn't think too much of it.
Yeah.
And then I was in the shower last night, and I go, wait a minute,
Yeah.
this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because I want to smack my hand full of body wash.
And I figured out that you just push down and pull up like in one motion.
Yeah.
You can keep doing it. But yeah, that's like...
Yeah, they intentionally do that to make sure that you're using 25% less.
Yeah, and that 25% is $10 million a year.
Yeah,
Some
right.
ridiculous number like that.
But yeah, yes, the very premium bathroom experience. The room's nice. You know what, Connor? And this is something, well, we stayed at a Staybridge Suites for a night before we showed up to Disney property because we needed a big space for a bunch of people before we came to Disney property when we were here. So, something I really missed or that was underrated about the Pop Century that I liked now, hardwood floors, I was sockless, shoeless all the time in the room.
Yeah.
I did not like doing that on the carpet floors of the Staybridge Suites.
No way.
Nice hotel, but I still not one of the things that you really want to do.
Well, I mean, I think that, that those hardwood linoleum or whatever it is makes it just feel a little more like home.
Yeah. I'm not saying like I'm a type of guy I won't take my shoes off somewhere because I can't put my feet on the carpet, but it really does, like you're saying, you feel more at home. When you hop out of bed in the morning, your feet are on the hardwood floor. It just feels, it's nice. It feels clean.
And my God, that TV is awesome.
Oh, have you turned it on when it's been dark in the room and that thing goes on?
No.
Oh, it's brighter than 1,000 suns.
That is funny.
Yeah.
So
nice TV.
They got a Murphy bed if you want to, push it up into its table capacity. Just a lot of options, a lot of storage space, things like that. Fits in well with the theme. And like, Hank and I were saying, that coupled with the Skyliner coming, coupled with Pop already being, an elevated value resort, just gives this resort just such higher marks from us.
Yeah, very high. And Connor, I was thinking, so we talk about it all the time, 2021, 50th anniversary. We've now seen officially confirmed that All-Star rooms, at least some of them, are getting this makeover.
Mm-hmm.
It would seem that all rooms on Disney property are destined to get this cleanup. You'd think by 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, if Disney's plan is to get every person that ever came to Disney World to come back in 2021, they're going to think this place is the Ritz with all these things.
Oh, yeah,
no matter where you stay.
Absolutely.
If they're like, we'll just book the All-Star Sports, it's so expensive now, and they show up there, they go, wow, if we stayed at, can you imagine how nice the rooms are there?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a pretty premium experience for people that return in the next couple years.
But I mean, I think about, for some, a value could be, a taster, like an appetizer to additional Disney vacations. And if you come here and you're at the value level and you're like, wow, this is very, very nice. I wonder what the other levels are like. And then you continue. You were talking to your wife, Erin, just yesterday about how, man, the Pop Century could be our quote unquote home resort for many trips to come.
Yeah.
That's just how you build off of it.
Sure. You just grow attached to these places, and we're standing here at the waterfront of the Pop Century. There's just like little moments of your resort that you love. And when you're standing looking out over the water and there's going to be gondolas going over right here, it's hard to not be a little romantic on your of which hotel that you like.
Sure. Absolutely. It's a memory thing.
Yeah.
So. One other point to make about how popular this resort is, how much people really, really like it. I think, Hank, you've probably noticed it. I love this about this resort and the other value resorts I've noticed. People decorating their windows.
Oh, yeah.
This is our annual trip. Here's who's on our trip with us. We've seen Christmas lights in certain ones. We've seen happy birthday trip to Frank, who's turning 50 or what have you. That just kind of adds that element of this is a community of people who come back to this resort.
Way more so than any other All-Star, for sure.
Yeah.
Undisputed.
Absolutely.
You feel that right away.
Yeah.
People return here.
Exactly. They come back. They're excited to be here. They want to let you know what they're celebrating. I think that's just a really, really cool touch.
Yeah, do like that.
So I don't think we'll walk into the registration area, the classic lobby or whatever it's called, just because it'll be so ungodly loud. But I think we can comment on it a little bit. These things are kind of true to form when it comes to All-Stars versus this. You enter at the very front, check-in desks, concierge desks, then you continue and you have the small gift shop where you can get sundries, things like that. They do have some Pop Century merch, which I always like. It used to only be, you could only buy deluxe or even vacation club resort merch, but now they're coming to the moderates, they're coming to the values, which is cool. And then you have, the cafeteria, the food court. I think pretty standard fare.
Oh, it's fine.
Nothing to write home about.
There's one place where the Pop you feel lacking, maybe. We're very, very high on the Pop. No knock on the area, especially with all this transport coming in, the gondola system. But if there's one knock, it's the lobby area.
Yeah.
It's that lobby experience. It's just a standard food court. It's just a standard gift shop. There's no grand sweeping view. There's nothing truly, deeply Disney exciting when you come in. But it gets the job done.
Absolutely. It gets the job done. That's perfect. Yeah.
Great arcade. I don't know if
yeah.
you stepped in there.
Yeah,
it's huge.
That looks pretty awesome.
Huge arcade at the Pop. And nice, too.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's up and running. New games. It's not one of those ones, we got a truck going by. This is gardening. Not the gondola building system. But this is not one of those little ones where it's like, this thing's been out of service for 4 months. They're all state of the art.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, nice games.
I think some final notes just on Pop. I love it. This is my first time here. It's one of those things where first time staying here. It's one of those things where you can easily say, "Oh, I just need a bed, a place to put my head."
Sure.
And things like that. And I think that's what we kind of came in those intentions, sun up to sundown. We've been, hitting the parks hard, but I've been surprised in the fact that those in between times I've been very satisfied. Whether it's staying in the rooms, walking around here, exploring. It is sprawling. It is massive. It's easy to get lost. It's easy to not remember which way to go. But at the end of the day, I think the value that you get for your buck, staying on Disney property, getting those perks of extra magic hours, of Magical Express, of Disney transportation, that service that Disney brings, Pop Century seems to be well worth it. Well worth it. Perfect theming,
Absolutely.
And it's very peaceful from where we're at. Of course, you're going to get, pretty crazy in the early mornings and
Towards the lobbies, towards the buses, that type of thing.
But it's very nice, and there's a bright future for the Pop Century.
I think that's the big takeaway, for me at least. As much as I already knew that I was a fan of this space, it has not reached its limit yet.
Exactly.
The gondolas,
which I think is pretty sweet. All right, well, this has been a good little walkabout on our Pop Century review. And that's going to do it for us this week. As always, thank you so very much for listening to the show. Be sure to rate and review us on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and share the show with someone you think might enjoy it. If you like what you heard today, then you've been listening to the WDW Opinion Podcast. If, by chance, you didn't like what you heard, then you've been listening to Up and Vanished. For Hank, I'm Connor. We'll see you real soon.